Hello, everybody, and welcome to the October 14th Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
6 races to bring you, 2 separate segments, a lot of stakes races, a lot of long races, so let's get things started with the 5th race from October 8th, the maiden special weight for 2-year-olds, a mile and a 16th on the inner.
We're going to show you a couple of horses. One of them is the favorite, Punctual Jeff, who talking about because somebody wrote me about him, but I didn't see the real trip he had. Here he is on the inside. The 11, COZZETTI, was a horse who really should have won this race, ends up finishing a very close 4th in here, but has trouble in the chute, and we're going to show you the head-on of the start, and you can see him stumbling again there, and he's in an aggressive sort of rush-up pattern seemingly the whole race, Eric.
Yeah, it just never worked out for him, and a lot went on with the 7 horse in this race, and that was Flyride, who broke out, then in, then came back out again, and that's why COZZETTI was, out there running awkwardly in the chute onto the backstretch here, and just never is able to settle in a good spot in this race.
Yeah, and that outside post is a tough situation. There's 3 bunched here. On the inside is Punctual Jeff. On the outside, the gray, is COZZETTI. And COZZETTI, as you'll see, and Punctual Jeff, Punctual Jeff was an oddly overbet 8-5 shot. I have no idea why he was 8-5 in here. He gets a sort of a patient ride by Javier Castellano, saves ground, angles out in the stretch. He has a little bit of traffic, you could say, in the stretch. He's among horses, but he never has any punch, while COZZETTI is kind of on the run the whole way. He's never saving any ground, and Regime Mirage is aggressive with him. I'm not knocking him for being aggressive with him, but ultimately this is a horse that was asked to do way too much running and had trouble.
Yeah, I think the trouble in the start of the race was enough to set this horse back, and he just keeps making this prolonged wide run throughout most of the race here, and really never gives up. I mean, still right here under a solid drive. We'll circle him there, and then back toward the inside you have the other horse we're looking at, Punctual Jeff, in here, but COZZETTI just on the chase, on a wide chase, trouble at the start, just a recipe for disaster, and he finishes 4th in here and only gets beat a length and 2 noses.
Yeah, he's a talented turf horse for trainer Dale Romans, who may have the best 2-year-old turf horse in the country, and Dullahan, who won the synthetic turf race at Keeneland over the weekend. And COZZETTI appears to me, my guess with him is maybe he's a horse that wants to make one run, or maybe he's a grinder type. I would rather, maybe in Florida there'll be faster paces. I don't know. There's never going to be a fast pace in New York. We've established that this year, but maybe he makes one run. He hangs a bit here, but he's been asked to do way too much.
Yeah, it looks like he steadied a little bit too in the stretch there, which might have cost him another neck or half length or so, and we'll head to the head on the start now.
Here he is, the 11, and here's the 7 horse. And you watch that horse with Ryan Curatola, what he does. He comes out a little at the start, and there's COZZETTI, and he comes in again, as Eric said, and now he's going to come out sharply. He affects the eventual winner, but the horse who's affected the most is COZZETTI, who's pushed to the outside. He had trouble. He was the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those starts at a mile and a 16th on the inner are very tricky. Pays to watch the head on to see exactly what happens. Let's take a look at our next race now. We'll get to some stakes here. It's the Jamaica for 3-year-olds going 9 furlongs on the turf. We're interested in the outside horse here, Sky Blazer.
I'm interested to know the conversations that took place among riders and connections, and who, if anybody, looked at the racing form for this race, other than Corey Nakatani, who stole the race on a horse that apparently the connections didn't even want to have the lead on. But when you're riding like Corey and you go to the front end, you do all the right things, everybody else is grabbing. This ride on Sky Blazer, who, believe it or not, might have as much speed as anybody in the field, from the outside post at a mile and an 1/8, goes into a full grab from the start in a race that on paper has no speed. They went 26, they went 52, and this horse is in a complete and total grab wide. What possible chance could they have thought they had with this kind of plan? 0
chance, just absolutely in a no-man's land here. The winner and second horse are 1st and 2nd right now, and they come home times in this race were good. I think the second to last quarter was 22-1, the final 8th was 11-3, so you just don't give yourself much of a shot coming home from a spot like this.
No, this is crazy. They went 34 flat the last 3/8, and you've got brilliant speed. I give credit to John Velasquez. He sensed what was going on. I mean, I guess in retrospect, maybe he could have been more aggressive from the get-go and made the 5 take it to him. But having said all that, at least he was on the pace. I mean, at this point, Sky was even being restrained more off the pace as the field separate a little bit as they're going those awesome 26 quarters. I mean, they're going those 8s at a 13 clip because you really want to restrain them off those 13s and put them in a drive when they're going 11s. That works out very well.
Well, that's what's going to happen here shortly. You'll see Sky Blazer being asked for more run as they move around the far turn here, and now he's going to be on a 3-wide chase here when the first 2 leaders obviously have plenty left for the stretch run.
It's not the only ill-conceived ride. The ill-conceived ride on Casino Host on the inside, dragging him back. You got the rail. Man, you got to go for position. It doesn't matter that your horse may not be a speed type. You've got to go for position because, they'll go a little quickly occasionally out of the gate, but you've got to go there and get your position. All these chasers just gave themselves no chance. We're not sitting here saying they could have won or would have won, but geez, this race could have looked a lot different.
Yeah. No one ever made a run throughout the entire race. I mean, it just seemed like they ran that way all the way around there. I guess Wilkinson made up some decent ground late, the third-place finisher there, but clearly a race that was decided at the start.
Yeah, and Sky Blazer's the horse that got left 5 or 6 lengths in his prior start. In this race, he didn't get left. They just chose to ride him like he did. I'm interested in Sky Blazer. I'd like to see him in a spot where he's going to look like he can't win, because he can.
All right, we'll take a look at the Frisette now for 2-year-olds, and a nice matchup here between Stop Shopping Maria and My Miss Aurelia. We'll start with the head-on first.
Yeah, it's what happens at the start dictates so much of what happened in the race. Because as you'll see when we first show the start, we stole it in slow motion. Miss Netta obviously broke very slow. Everybody saw that. But Stop Shopping Maria breaks a touch slow, and you see the winner, My Miss Aurelia, coming out on her, the 4-horse coming in on her a little bit, and Stop Shopping Maria gets steadied out and loses her position. If she had broken more sharply and established her position, it would have been different. And you'll see, even on the break, that Spare Change, who ends up dueling with the eventual winner, she gets an advantage at the start, and I think a lot of it is because My Miss Netta, who's here, is concentrating on keeping this horse, Stop Shopping Maria, the horse she has to beat, in check back there, and of course, My Miss Netta back there. Miss Netta, she's going to be fighting the rider the whole way. She ran a little at the end, but the start really dictated a lot of what happened here.
Yeah, we'll see more about Miss Netta later on here, but I don't think this race in the first quarter mile unfolded how anyone would have thought. I mean, you and I both picked Spare Change on Talking Horses, and we thought Spare Change would be sitting, maybe where the 4 is now, maybe up a little bit closer than that, but we never expected her to be on the lead vying with My Miss Aurelia, and right in behind is Stop Shopping Maria, and this is kind of similar to what happened the last time My Miss Aurelia and Stop Shopping Maria met in a maiden special weight race up in Saratoga, where Stop Shopping Maria wasn't sharp away from the gate, and that cost her. She can't make mistakes like this against talented fillies like My Miss Aurelia.
No, she's got to get out sharply. And people can say, well, My Miss Aurelia put her in a tough spot. She put her in that tough spot because she was afforded the opportunity, because my Stop Shopping Maria didn't break that sharply. Had she done so, been different. Now, I think the rail was very strong in the dirt courses over the weekend of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even in this period. So I believe that being on the rail helped My Miss Aurelia, who was a very impressive winner. Stop Shopping Maria is forced to make this 3-wide move after giving up her advantage. My Miss Aurelia is the best horse, but she did get herself an advantage at the start. I want to talk about Miss Netta after this, because this is the horse, and Miss Netta's way back here. She runs third. Are you going to fall for her? Because a lot of people are talking about her as being the horse you might want out of this race.
Yeah, I don't know. She just doesn't seem to me at this point to be as good as the top 2 finishers, My Miss Aurelia and Stop Shopping Maria. And you know what? I thought her first race was good. I thought she was just on the lead because she was the best horse in there. She did things pretty handy. She regressed from a mental state second time out, breaking slowly and being rank in the early stages and fighting the rider. We'll see what kind of spot she ends up in. I mean, it's all going to be relevant with her, I think.
She ran a speed figure that was faster than the speed figure she ran in her debut. She broke about a length slow and then sluggishly dropped back. In my opinion, she ran okay, but it's a bit of an illusion. She may be talented, but I don't think she ran a lot better than it looks. Once again, we'd love to hear your thoughts, trips, and traps at NYRAInc.com.
Come on back for the second segment.